Product review time once again, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the first of two Big Chief Studios figure reviews coming in the near future. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the Weeping Angel polystone figurine, which is the collector's edition, along with Steven Moffat's signature, which is one that I got for my birthday about a month ago, and it's actually took me this long to film because, hey, I've not been very productive recently. Here is the box the Weeping Angel comes in. Now, as you probably noticed, this isn't on a white background because I've decided to make things a little bit easier for myself by not using the white background for the bigger boxes because, hey, it's just a little bit useless and it is only lasting a minute or so, so I'm sure you won't all mind. So this is the shipping box. As you can see, we have the incentive one ticked. Nothing generally too much to talk about. It just generally keeps the product safe, and it does that pretty well. It has Big Chief at the front, and overall, it's very nice. Then on the inside of the shipment crate, we of course have the box itself, which contains the actual figure. Now this has been done in a slightly different format to the other actual material 1/6 scale figures because of course this is a polystone structure, therefore you actually need to construct it. So as you can see at the front here, we have the Weeping Angel literally weeping, along with the title of the set at the bottom, along with Doctor Who and the BBC and Big Chief logo. It looks very nice. I think the photography overall for this box has been done really well. Then the opposite side of the box, you get the Weeping Angel screaming this time, along with the title of the set once again. And then on the opposite side to this, we get, of course, the Weeping Angel with the solemn, creepy face with the arms outstretched once again, along with the title of the set at the bottom. And then, of course, on the back of the box, we get the Doctor Who logo, Big Chief, BBC once again, but the other way around. And then we, of course, get some information about the Weeping Angel. And then, of course, along the bottom, we get a few images of all the different arms and things within the Weeping Angel, showing how it can be displayed, along with the contents at the very bottom there. And then on the very bottom of the box, all of the company information is hidden, and then we have a few credits there as well. And then to finish off, at the very top, we get Doctor Who and the Weeping Angel once again, but unfortunately mine has a big massive scratch down it. Don't particularly mind too much because it's hidden, but hey, you know, it's just there anyway. And then on the third and final layer of packaging, we get the polystyrene case. Now everything is contained within this, and it is in a slightly different format due to, as I say, this being a polystone structure. So sliding off the side, as you can see within the middle, we have the Weeping Angel itself. Now this is the main body, the two heads and the base. And then I was one of the people that opened this and thought, bloody hell, they've not packaged the arms. It turns out, when you actually slide this to the side and take a look here, we in fact have all the limbs, there's one sliding out, we in fact have all the limbs and the wings nicely hidden on the inside by the Big Chief logo. So first taking a look at the Weeping Angel in the standard weeping pose, which is arguably probably the most famous for the Weeping Angels because it's how they get the name. Now luckily for me, as this is a polystone construction, it can in fact be took apart and you can take a look at the different parts individually, meaning it's slightly easier to review. And now first off, polystone is a little bit heavier from what you would expect. Not too heavy, not too light, it is sort of a very good quality material. So first off, taking a look at the biggest part of the figure, and it is of course the skirt piece. Now as I said, this can in fact be dismantled and things, meaning that I can take a much more closer look at the product, which is very lucky for me. So lots of different creasing and things on here. We have lots of different depths as well, which is very nice to see. It all looks very natural, and as this is a type of resin, they've captured that rock look very well. As you can see, we have the knee piece, which comes out here, which is sort of an iconic thing for the Weeping Angels. For some reason, they all tend to have this thing. But as you can see, we have the creasing here, and that goes all smooth, which is nice. And once again, the creasing starts at the bottom, making it look very natural, much like how a skirt would normally drape down in real life. And then we have lots of different things here. We have lots of different creasing coming down to the bottom piece where it all sags as well, which doubles up as the base, as you have this felt piece at the bottom, meaning that if you choose not to use the grass base, you can in fact have this displayed by itself, and it doesn't in fact slide around on any surface, so that's good. It does keep it nice and secure and in place. The main thing for this figure generally is the paint application. I think that it sets it off absolutely brilliantly. Like most Big Chief figures, it is all the different bits of paint application, the spray that's been applied down from the actual undercoat as well, and all the different parts have been added over the top, making it really look like weathered rock. We have all this different darker tones here between the different nooks and crannies and things. It fades out in the middle and then comes out once again at the bottom. It's a little bit like shading, all very random. It's very well done to make it look very much like natural rock. And further different bits of light, we sort of have this flecked pattern in a way. So at the very bottom of the base, the stone nicely drapes down to sort of include this little base piece at the bottom where it all goes nice and flat, really making it look once again like an actual material that's flowed down and sort of hit the ground. And of course, at the very top of the figure, we get the magnet piece, which will connect to the upper waist part, which once again holds it very securely. Speaking of the waist part, it just nicely sits on top of the figure. As you can see, really keeps it in place absolutely excellently. It's a very strong magnet within this. I'm very surprised of how it actually keeps it together. The exact same paint application here applied to a brilliant sculpt. So we have a similar thing with the dress where we have all these nooks and crannies and things, but this time it's a lot more loose. As you can see coming down from this piece here, we have a lot more creases and things, a lot more parts, really making it sag down down sort of over the crease piece here where it in fact connects together. So we have the same paint application of having the different tones of grey, the different shades of grey, as well as a lot of different shading as well. In parts, especially here where it sort of sticks out, we have this lighter tone applied, really making it stand out compared to the deeper parts of the skirt piece, which is nice to see. Moving along to the sides, once again, a similar thing has been applied, this time around the arms and things, or at least where the arms would be. It's been made a lot darker. And then moving on to the back, what is really nice, we have the actual material that has been applied, but this time it sort of lumps into parts such as here. It makes it look nice under the wings as well, once again sort of making it look like this is a part of the body once the wings are applied. Moving on to the top piece now, as you can see, this is where all of the material part stops. I don't quite know what this would be, but yeah, it's sort of a flat texture. This is flat and sort of lacks in the creasing. You can really see how they've made it look like stone. For example, we have these sort of crackle effects here, which sort of look a little bit like veins. This is scattered all over the body as well as on the face as well. And then even at the top, we have the addition of some very faint creasing in there as well. Similar things applies to the back. As you can see, once again, we have the creasing applied, as well as a general weathering tone spread all the way throughout the figure. Of course, the first of two wings, which are pretty much exactly the same. However, the other one, of course, is for the opposite side. Once again, a similar thing has been applied. I do believe at the top it is made of the same material as the actual body, but as we go down, it does tend to be a little bit lighter, sort of more of a plasticky thing. I don't quite know if it's plastic though, as this piece is a lot colder than this, so I'm guessing at some point it is in fact being glued together or something, but we can't in fact see that, which is great. But yeah, I've lots of different detailing on here. Once again, we have sort of the feathering design. Would this be feathers? I don't know, but yeah, we have the feathering design coming down here, as you can see, a lot more at the top, and the same thing applied with the different shades of grey, as well as the shading as well, especially around these parts where we have this sort of the nooks and crannies and things. Once again, something that wouldn't be visible, of course, on just a standard plastic figure, but what they've done is they've applied this to really make it look like stone. Once again, adding a lot of depth to this, as this part at the top is sort of more higher raised than this piece. As you can see, it's in sort of like a curve. Opposite side, once again, a similar thing applies, but we have sort of more of an airbrushed effect, having the same colour underneath. However, this time we have a few scratches and things along the sides, exactly the same textures and things, once again making it look very consistent. And now for the left wing, a similar thing applies. It's pretty much exactly the same sculpt with a few feathers changing here and there. However, this time we have a much more darker section up here, as you can see, and along here, which is nice. And then the same thing applies for the back as well, of a much more sort of darker spread of brush around here, which is nice to see because, of course, a standard statue wouldn't be equal on either side. So it's nice to see a bit more of a random idea in here. And I'm guessing that as you get the different ones, there will no doubt be many variations between the Weeping Angels in the actual figure form as well. There'll be some more battered than others, some that look very much more new than others, and I do believe that that's something of a regular occurrence with these. Luckily, mine sort of seems to be a middle point between the two, being nice and new as well as weathered, so yeah, that's sort of a good place to be with it. Moving on to applying the wings to the figure now, it's not exactly rocket science. Remember these little grooves from earlier? Well, these have been made to do that because the grooves in the hull are also like that, meaning that you can put this in at any different angle and it will in fact stay there. But note, you can't in fact turn it whilst in the slot because, you know, that would break it. But yeah, as you can see, sliding it in straight down and then bringing on the other one as well and sliding that one in straight down, of course, creates the standard calm Weeping Angel pose, as you can see there. Probably best, in fact, for the weeping arms, because that is normally how the weeping versions of the Weeping Angels go. So we have the standard version of Weeping Angel there with the calm position. And then, of course, if you want something slightly more dramatic, you can, of course, remove the wings and then apply them at a slightly higher angle. And then we have a little bit more of a attack pose style of design, as you can see there. It does, of course, take up more space. And this is a little bit more useful for the screaming arms, as you can see there, just popping them into place. That's the wrong arm. There we go. Popping that one in. And then we have a sort of more attack style of pose, which would, of course, suit better the screaming head. Taking a look at the heads, this is of course the solemn version, which is arguably probably more creepier than the screaming one because it is essentially completely emotionless. I have a sort of similar paint app compared to the rest of the body on this, however it's slightly more glossed. So as you can see at the front here, we have this really nice smooth face design with a few cracks and things on here. It's similar to this design down here, in fact, so we have a few little lines and things down there, once again almost looking like veins, and we have a few airbrushes around here. I really like the way that we have a lighter design, in fact, applied to the forehead, under the bags, under the eyes, as well as the nose as well. Darker airbrush applied under the eyelids as well as under the eyes themselves. And also just taking an even closer look there up at the lips. As you can see, when dragging it away from the camera, it does in fact create sort of a darker glare underneath the lips, which is really nice to see. So yeah, a really good natural shade applied in there along with the nose as well, and the nostrils all individually painted. And moving on to the hair, even this could have been done simply, but it hasn't because we've got so much different paint apps in there as well. More so towards the start, as you can see, we have all these individual curls that have actually been engraved into the design, along with some different different strands of hair all swept back there, including the main piece down the middle, as well as the way it all drags down, which has been incredibly well done. And then even at the front, we sort of have this crown piece of the way that the hair curls all the way around, and then under the, what would be ears, I was going to say ears, but she doesn't seem to have any, but lighter brown wash almost applied to the top there, which is really nice to see. Also, just at the very front here, we have the addition of what looks like a headband. I don't know if it is a headband. I wasn't really aware that the Weeping Angels even had them to an extent, but yeah, that's very nice the way that that's been done. Via the simple cone piece at the bottom with the magnet in, that does of course just simply sit down into the sculpt, almost covering up the gap completely of where that would normally come out. So overall, it's a brilliant head sculpt and I really do like it. Now things have just got slightly more terrifying. Now we have the angry head, which once again, this has a few more paint apps applied to there because of the expression on the face is actually present, unlike the previous one. But as you can see, generally, the whole face tends to be on a tilt there. This is directly facing the camera, and it is sort of looking up to the right slightly, which once again does aid posing quite a lot. So as you can see, once again, so many different paint apps on this. This time we have the eyes, which once again have been done in a similar manner. This time we have the additional creasing applied to the face, though, however, underneath the eyelids there, as well as above the forehead as well, and the eyebrows and things, which have been incredibly well done with the angry expression on the face. Format has remained the same underneath the different parts here where we would have shading. We have the jawline brought out once again with this lighter paint app applied, and then even on the shading underneath the jawbone and the jawline, you have a few more additional pieces there, and then even underneath the eyelids, we have the same additional sort of blacker design in there, really bringing out the creasing very nicely. Similar thing that applied to the previous one, we do have the additional design of sort of the vein texture or the crackle texture applied once again to this design. But what is really clever is the way we have it coming down here on the neck, but as well we have this crack that comes down that does in fact match up with the one on the chest piece itself, which is really nice. Taking a closer look at the mouth, this is all 3D sculpted as well. As you can see, the tongue in fact goes into the head, and we have a few additional paint apps in there. Each individual tooth there, we have the fangs nicely pointing out, which are in fact sharp and once again an independent sculpt. Above this we have the nose and the nostrils, which have been very well done, along with the creasing around the mouth, which has sort of a darker paint app applied to that also, and the eyes as well, which are generally just more emotionless than the previous one, which once again, incredibly creepy as well as incredibly brilliant. It just looks fantastic. Back from the forehead now onto the head itself. Once again, I do believe this is in fact exactly the same to the previous one. However, the paint apps this time look slightly darker, which once again, I don't know if that's on purpose, or I don't know if that's just because each individual one of these is slightly different. So we have, once again, exactly the same textures applied underneath on the lower half of the neck where we have the curls and things, and the strands once again with the different pieces stretching out. It's exactly the same hair-wise, but the head is utterly terrifying. Just to give you a few close-ups now of what the heads look like once attached to the body. As you can see, the angry head looks, well, angry, as per usual. But yeah, it looks brilliant the way that it's been done. And an application between the different wing lengths and things, as well as using the different arms as well, and a multiple different array of poses as well. It really does aid the figure very well on display. And then from the side as well, I love the way that we have each individual contour on the face brought out, as well as the fangs as well. It just looks absolutely excellent. Then once again, of course, the solemn head, which looks absolutely excellent as well on this sculpt. I think that this one, as I say, looks oddly creepy just because of how unemotional it is. And once again, this can be applied to even the angry arms and even the angry style of wing, and it still looks incredibly creepy. Moving on to additional accessories now, the Weeping Angel doesn't in fact come with any. It only comes with, as always with Big Chief figures, a load of arms and hands and whatever else, a ton of limbs as per usual. But yeah, we have 3 different sets of these, meaning that you can have them in many different poses as you've seen throughout this review. So of course, to start with, we have the Weeping Arms, which once again, the exact same application applies to this for every single one. So we have the stone texture in there, and then of course the Weeping Hands themselves, which have all been individually sculpted, 4 fingers and the thumb. And then even on the inner sides as well, we have the addition of the detailing of the different creases between it in there as well. It's also been nicely applied, all hidden under the sculpt, and also an L and an R has been nicely engraved into the sculpt, meaning that you don't get confused of what one is which is handy. Ha, get it? We also get some attack arms, because hey, why not? Many different gradients of grey in there, along with a bit of stippling, which is exactly the same to the head. We even have a faint sort of vein design in there as well, once again similar to the head itself. And then of course the main difference is the hand itself, where this time we have all of the fingers nicely stretched out there, wanting to kill you. How lovely. Finally, we get a combination. We get the reaching arms, which are basically a slightly more relaxed version of the wanting to kill you hands. So yeah, once again, these are sort of more in an L shape, as you can see, slightly closer to the body once again. a combination of what I've found is a combination of one of these and the reaching hands works very well. Have a lump of ground. As you can see, once again, this will be slightly odd if it was the standard hexagonal design with sort of the blue thing with the glowy thing in the middle. This is a lot nicer, I think, and definitely suits the Weeping Angels a lot better. For the single pack, this is exactly the same to the double pack. However, it sort of attaches onto a gravestone piece and a further additional one of these there to create sort of a massive set of 2 Weeping Angels and a gravestone. But I'm very impressed with this because the surface of the land has been done incredibly well. It generally looks horrible because you have the mud in there where the Weeping Angel would of course stand, along with the 3D design there of all these different lumps and things. If you just run your finger over this, we have tons of little bumps and crevices and things in the ground, really making it look like a horrible piece of marshland, which is great because, you know, that's everything you want in life. And then, of course, towards the sides, we get this lovely sort of grass texture thing. But yeah, that's the floor. It's rather nice, isn't it? And I love the way it's also crackled as well. Kind of reminds me of the Series 5 intro teaser thing. What's a really nice feature is on the bottom we have this limited edition Weeping Angel 1/6 scale polystone figure with a lovely image, some company information, Big Chief's almighty logo, and the Doctor Who logo with a lovely image of the Weeping Angel there, along with some little plugs on the surface as well, meaning it's all safe. Weeping Angel, in fact, just simply sits in the middle. You can have it either way and displayed either way. It doesn't really stick on or anything like that. I do believe it may line up with some of the rocks and things, but it sets off the figure really well, and here it is, towering over the rest of everything. As this figure was already reduced, there was a further collector's edition of this set available for only £10 more, and you could get Steven Moffat's signature, so I thought why not. So here it is on its lovely plaque, once again a similar thing to all of the other limited edition Big Chief figures. We just have the number, which is 239 out of 250 of the limited run versions, Steven Moffat's signature, because he's of course the creator of the Weeping Angels, and as of 2017 the current writer still, and head writer of Doctor Who. So yeah, this itself is generally exactly the same to the other ones. However, because this is a polystone figure, they've also made the hexagonal piece a polystone thing as well. This time it's in silver, and it can just nicely sit in front of the figure. So yeah, it's nice that they've added that additional feature. As with all Big Chief figures, we get the certificate of authenticity, the same thing as per usual, Doctor Who logo, the title of the set. And then on the inside, we get something slightly different. If you get the signature one, you of course get this is to certify that this is a real signature, with an image of Steven Moffat with a few company details there. All I'd just like to draw your attention to is he may be the showrunner of Doctor Who and a very clever man, but he doesn't really know how to hold a Sharpie the right way. Well done, Moffat. Well done. Finally, doing a comparison with the other Big Chief figures in my collection, including the brand new 9th Doctor figure, which a review of that will be coming soon. As you can see, as expected, she of course fits in absolutely brilliantly. She's exactly in scale with all the other figures, and generally looks brilliant, and I can't wait to see what Big Chief do next for the line. And as well, I may need to now buy a 10th Doctor to go along with her, because, you know, that makes sense, doesn't it? The review's not over yet, however, because I'm a generous human being, and I'm going to include the expansion pack of the Cherub in here, because I previously thought the review running time would be long enough as it is, but it turns out this review is slightly shorter than I expected, so I thought that I may as well throw this in instead of giving it its own review, because let's face it, it'll probably last about 4 minutes. So this is the box. As you can see, it's exactly the same to your normal expansion box. It's just a plain white, nothing really to talk about. And then at the top we have a sticker with Doctor Who 1/6 scale expansion pack with Cherub written on. And then, of course, on the inside, we get the polystyrene casing. This would normally be taped up, but of course, on the inside, you have the Cherub itself. And here we have the creepy child baby stone thing out of its box. As you can see, pretty much exactly the same idea to the Weeping Angel itself, to be honest. We have quite a few similar paint apps here and there. Generally, overall, it's made of polystone, much like the actual Weeping Angel itself, so we have lots of different paint apps on this once again. Quite a weighty piece, to be honest, for the size. We have lots of different greys applied, as you can see. Like the way that we have this crack running down the sides and the belly button there, shoulder and the arms there. Generally, overall, it's been sculpted very well. As you can see, we have the sculpting of the fingers and the thumb there, along with different sort of joints and things, like how a baby would normally be sort of chubby at the limbs, which is really nice. Very proportional as well. Kneeling on the floor, so at the back, we of course have the feet, which would be nicely bent over. Once again, probably a little bit more bent over than they would normally be in real life. Really nicely allowing him to stand up wherever he is, and doesn't really tend to fall over as well, which is good. Then on the back, we get this really nice design. As you can see on the wings, we have lots of different textures to this once again. A really nice raised pattern. Once again, we have this really nice fleck detailing on there with different segments and things raised out. And then we have the face, which is once again been really nicely done. We have sort of a dark design applied to this, a lot of smiling slightly, which makes it ever so slightly weirder, and we have the crack along the sides of the face, but generally overall, once again, sort of the dark splattered effect has been applied to this to really make it look like stone. And then a similar thing is also applied to the hair as well. We have the individual strands on there, which have been really nicely painted, and also individually sculpted as well, along with the additioning of the ears on either side, along with this really nice flick as well at the top there, which is really nice to see. And generally overall, looks very much like how the cherubs did in that story. Then also just to give a little bit of a comparison to other Weeping Angel products available to give an idea of size, for a cherub it is in fact quite big, however when compared to that of the Big Chief Weeping Angel it is pretty much in scale. Generally overall, however, this has more detailing on than all the other Weeping Angel products available in front of your eyes right now, including the 3.75 cherub, which that doesn't even have detailing on. And finally, I would just like to emphasize that this is no longer available with the Big Chief Studios 1/6 scale Weeping Angel figure. It was originally a pre-subscription gift piece that you could get for free, but now the product is out normally, you can no longer get it with the product. However, if you do want it, it is available on the Big Chief Studios website for £19.99 singly, and I do believe around £5 postage, so it is a little bit pricey. However, if you want a cherub, it is there if you want it. So overall for this product, I actually think it's probably one of the most underestimated Big Chief products that they've ever done. Although it's completely different from all of the other 1/6 scale figures because they're not of course material. This is a polystone statue much like the TARDIS. It doesn't have the accessories, however, it's probably one of the best posability figures that they've ever done. You can have so much fun with photography for this if you're into photography. So as the box as well, having a lovely presentation box and the base that it comes with. And the brilliant thing about this is the fact that it's still currently on sale on the Big Chief website at the time of filming for an amazing price of only £75, which I cannot believe. I absolutely adore it, and if you want the signature version, you can get that for only £89. So I do believe the recommended retail was initially £150 or something like that, maybe a little bit more, I can't really remember. The limited run for the non-signed one is 1,000, and then the signature edition there is a current run of 150. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please do give it a big like, please subscribe if you're not already. If any questions, please do leave them below and be sure to answer them at some point in the near future. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all next time. So thanks for watching and bye for now.